Hello, welcome to February, first video of the month, and it is a monthly reset video. We are going to look at January, see what went well, see, what books I read, and plan for February. What am I gonna do in the month of February? What goals am I gonna have to get me closer to those longer term goals that I set for myself for the 2024? So that's what we're gonna do in this video. I am excited to kind of do this on a monthly basis just to help me stay accountable and share with you all what I'm working towards, and really just to get into the practice of tracking my goals better. I think this year, especially for me, is the year of I want to be consistent and I want to be dedicated to the content that I'm creating online, because every other year in the past I've said that I want to do this, I want to do that, and the consistency hasn't really been there. But now I'm very focused on two outlets, which you'll see when I share my goals, that I want to really work towards building that. Before we jump in, I just wanted to introduce myself. I'm Danielle. I make videos on the first-gen experience, everything from managing my personal finances to talking about mental health with family members, managing relationships, and really right now finding my next full-time job. So if those videos sound interesting, if you want to see more about that first-gen experience, then hit subscribe. Okay, before I get started into looking at January, let's talk about what I used to plan for my month. I'm going to be walking through the Notion template that I use. I also use Google Calendar. That is a really big piece of how I plan for the month ahead, both in my personal finances, but also in just my average day-to-day life. And then I have a planner this year. So this is an Amanda Rach Lee planner. I got it for Christmas, and I am excited to incorporate this into my already existing routine. But in the past, I have just used other planners. This is the first time it's a bullet journal type planner. There's some doodling. So that's kind of what this looks like here. So those are the three main things that I use: Notion, Google Calendar, and the actual planner, physical planner. Okay, let's dive into January. I am going to share my screen so you can follow along with the prompts that I asked myself through the Notion that I created, and we'll start there. We are in my Notion homepage. What we're gonna look at though is our recap of January. So I would go to my goals and recap. This has all of my goals for 2024. It also has some intentions, but what we care about for this video is our monthly recap. I started this already, but I didn't complete it because I was let me do that with you all in this video. So here I have the completed check mark because we're done with January. Today is the 31st, so last day of January. And I have focus areas, I have a look back section. So let's tackle first the focus areas. My focus area for January was to land a job. I thought by the end of January I'd have an offer. I do not, as of today, have an offer. So we didn't necessarily land a job, but I also put different to-dos within the land a job goal, right? And so my goal was to apply to 40 jobs in January. I'm gonna take a look at my Teal account, which is what I've been using to track how many jobs I applied to track the status of jobs. So I clicked on all of the jobs that I applied to in January, and actually I've only applied to 30 jobs. So I'm gonna put 30 jobs applied, 30 applications submitted. I only applied to 30 jobs in the month of January based on my Teal, which doesn't take into account the emails that I set up or that I sent for a consulting position. So technically it's 31 applications submitted, but that is helpful for me to see okay, 30 applications, and we're still to be determined, but 30 applications that I submitted in the month of January led to, I want to say 4 interviews, 4 phone calls, phone screenings, which is the first stage of interviews. And then I am still right now still interviewing for 2 companies, right? So interviewing 2 companies. So 30 applications down to 2 companies that I'm interviewing for from jobs that I applied to in January. So that is something to just keep in mind. It's like, okay, I applied to a lot, but only got through the hiring manager process for 2 of the companies. Update my LinkedIn. I have not done this. This is something that I realize I need to prioritize because I want to just create a different brand, personal brand for myself on LinkedIn than what I've had for the last 6 years, 4 years. So this needs an updating, but I did not focus on that in January. So we can X that one. Okay, understand my priorities and what I want from a job. I did get clear on this. It was very, I think it was something that I kept exploring like after the first 2 weeks of January. I was like interviewing for a job and I realized I didn't even want this job because of what it entailed and just what it seemed like the culture of the company was. So I do think that it was something that I got more clarity on and has helped me be able to land these 2 interviews that I have next week. So that one is done. Start writing class. So that is something that I signed up for in December. So it was a December goal to like register for one, but in January we're actually going to start the writing class, and that requires homework and writing outside of the class time, which is fine, and just regular attendance. So I attended every class in January, that is correct, and I completed my writing assignments correct. I actually also even presented in class, which I didn't think I would do until probably February. I wasn't trying to volunteer for this week's critique. So every week, 3 students will complete a writing piece and the class will critique it, give feedback. So I actually did that this week and got some feedback on my writing, which I did not expect to happen in the first month of the class. So we're doing good with the writing class and just like getting into a routine of doing my homework and practice writing when I have a prompt that I have to write about. All right, so I wanted to get my phone for my favorite moments just to give me a recap of what happened in January. So what I would do is like look through every photo that I took in the month of January just to get some inspo on this. Favorite moment, I just got inspired by this photo, is meeting Mateo. Ooh. So this month, Ari and I went to Denver, and part of that trip, I got to see my best friend, who I hadn't seen in a long time. She wasn't able to come to our wedding, and I finally met her baby, and I met Mateo, and it was so nice to see them. So that is definitely one of my favorite moments. I think also, just looking at my photos, I started training. So I started half marathon training. And I started my run with my sister. So I was with G. So I think that one is a favorite moment because I'm not doing this alone, whereas with my marathon training in 2019, I was doing it alone, and just like getting to wake up early and running with my sister because we live so close to each other is something that I want to remember. It's like about the small things, but that's something that I really love that we started this year. And beating me at Racco. So I taught my nephew how to play Racco and he beat me. So I think that was like a cute little Auntie D and Dan moment where I taught him how to play a board game, and like, I don't know, I love teaching him board games. So I think for now this is good. Just like it brings you a smile to remember these things that happened in the month. When you think about the month, you're like, okay, well, I went to Denver and that itself was like a huge highlight. I traveled. But if we really have to like think about like what moment in that trip or what moment in that whatever big thing you did was special, it's the small moments that matter. So favorite book, movie, or show of the month. So I read my first fiction book of the month, which we'll be talking about in book club on Friday, today as you're watching this, but is Yours Truly. I really did enjoy it. I was reading so fast, I couldn't put it down. So I think that is, you know, one of the good things that I read this month. So Yours Truly. What did I watch that I really liked? Movie. Oh my gosh. I watched Persian Version. Ooh. It came recommended by a friend of mine who also is first gen, and it was just such a funny but sad and true perspective of being first gen, daughter of immigrants, of realizing how that relationship with your parents is one that maybe you'll never understand because you don't know what their life was like when they weren't in this country. So actually, movie that I recommend you check out, I think it was on Amazon Prime. Yes, I think it was on Amazon Prime, but Persian Version made me laugh, it made me cry. Recommended. I also watched this month, or in January, oh my gosh, Killers of the Flower Moon. I feel like I need just to list out what movies I watched before I forget. That one was so good. It was long, but it needed to be long. And I don't know why I hadn't heard about it until it was like up for awards. And I'm like, why did I miss this movie all of 2023? So I checked that one out. So good. But my favorite, I would say, was Persian Version. What shows did I watch? I don't know if I've been watching any new shows, honestly. I've been rewatching Friends. So maybe February will be a month where I watch something new because I am almost done with my re-watching of Friends. So I think that's good for now. And this month, what did I learn this month? This is kind of related to my writing practice, but I think I learned that everybody has a story. I think that was something that was like very clear in like the first writing class that we had. And it was just nice to see that like all of us here are so different, but we all have a story to tell. And I also think it helps me understand and feel less of that scarcity mindset when I think about, oh my God, like what book am I gonna write if there's already all these authors that are talking about blah, blah, blah. It helps me realize that everybody is different, everybody has a story. So I think that's a really big thing to kind of realize, right? So everyone has a story. Okay, so that is my look back. That's my January. I also incorporate my 2024 goals here just to kind of see them again somewhere else. So something that I added here is for my read 12 books. I've already incorporated the 2 books that I read in January, but this is just kind of how I'm also keeping track of what books I'm reading. So there's Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. There's Set Boundaries, Find Peace. So I finally finished this book by Nidra Glover Twab. And yeah, those are read. I'm currently reading, I'll get to that in February. So that is January. Okay, now let's get into February. What am I working towards this month? Just like we did with January, we're gonna create a new page for February. Okay, February, and then, nope, we're gonna do a check, but a ungreen check. Because we're still not done with the month, we're just getting started. Okay, monthly goals, put the year. Monthly goals. Before I set any goals for this month, I'm gonna just take a look at my 2024 goals. Okay, I'm gonna focus just on Q1. And the reason I break it down like that is just so I can kind of see which ones are a priority now versus maybe later in the year. We have the YouTube again, so that's 72 videos published. Oh, actually, something I didn't show you here for January. I've already done this too, but I listed all the 6 videos that I put out in January. So in order to hit 72 videos published in 2024, I need 6 videos per week. And so, or per month. And so January has already been checked off, and this is where I would put the videos that I publish in February. So that's how I'm keeping track of that. But I don't know if it's necessarily a focus area, because not every like goal that you have for the year needs to be like a monthly goal that you have for the month. Because I already know like I need to put out these videos, so it's not the one thing I want to focus on. But I do, off the top, already know I'm going to focus on landing that job again. And what that requires me to do is prepare. Prepare for the interviews I have coming up. Practice with Ari. I haven't been like presenting to anybody else. I've just kind of been like doing my case studies. I create decks for these final stage interviews, and I haven't been like performing them in front of Ari. So that's something I need to do this month. I also have been taking a different approach to how I prepare for interviews, which I'll talk about in a video that'll come out later, but that's a new strategy that I've implemented. So I think that that's good to add here. And I do want to refresh the LinkedIn page profile because it just needs a refresh. Last thing that I want to do, I don't want to put like a 40 applications to be submitted, but I want to be more intentional about how I apply to jobs. So maybe like submit 5 very strong applications with cover letter. And I think I've shared my philosophy on cover letters in one of my vlogs, but I don't submit them for everything, only for the jobs and companies that I have like a true connection with and passion for and want to get that expressed. Okay, so that is my number 1 goal. Let's put an emoji to make it fun. Okay, and then close that. Goal number 2. So in looking at my goals here for Q1, becoming a writer again, that is a goal I want to focus on for February, because if we go into it, I had for Q1 that I wanted to enroll in a writing class, which we did in January. And then the other things that I want to focus for this specific goal in Q1 is to start a Substack. I have already created my account, but I want to go back to that like consistent writing. I used to send out a newsletter, if you've been following me for a while, where every week I'd have we would talk about different things, and I miss that. So I think for February, we're gonna commit to the Substack. So the one thing that was holding me back for Substack is not having a name yet. But I don't want that to hold me back. So we're gonna hit submit or publish before we have a set on name for what we want the Substack to be. So write for Substack piece, or just like go public with Substack. The first thing I have to do is write a article. Then I have to create article ideas, which I already kind of have a few in mind, but just like actually have that fleshed out so I don't feel like every week I'm trying to come up with a new idea. And then share it on Instagram and YouTube. Hello. Okay, so go public with Substack. And that one is a writing emoji because it's focused on my writing goal. All right, so that's my monthly goals for February. I think just keeping it at 2 ones that I'm really focused on, it helps me like get really focused on it. Other things that obviously I'm working throughout the month that I'm not gonna like make a sole focus is well, moving into our own place is related to getting a job. Reading 12 books. I actually, let me show you because I have them with me. I have 2 books I checked out from the library. So this one I've already started. This is One in a Millennial, pop culture memoir. So far, I'm really enjoying it, and it actually helped me write my piece for my memoir class, because I was like, okay, well, I can tie into the things that I was thinking and the things that I was watching during this time, and it really helped me get into my past self. I also picked up Never Enough because I saw that it was recommended on Instagram as like just a book to read about addiction and why people struggle with this. Immediately though, when I opened it, I was like, oh, it's a heavy read. It is a heavy read. So I have not started it. And I hope I can finish it. But I do want to start just like prioritizing one book at a time. I feel like when I'm reading 2 books at once, it just makes it harder for me to finish any of the books. So that is something that I have here. So I've added it to my February to reads. I don't know if we're gonna get a book club book after the book club tomorrow or Friday, but if we do, we're gonna have to see how we prioritize these books. But okay, that's how I'm staying consistent with my 12 books for 2024. Honeymoon to Japan. So this is something that's not happening until April. And that means that this quarter, it's just planning it. I will say I'm not somebody who wants to like plan every second of the day. So we booked that's something I didn't talk about. We booked our hotels. I guess I'll talk about this in the money budget video, but we booked our hotels for Japan. So we know where we're staying. And I'm like, we know when we're staying where. I know what things I definitely want to do, but in terms of like booking every dinner reservation, I don't know if like that's something that I need to be, we want to be planning so rigidly. I also have a trip to Amsterdam with my sisters and aunt. So that's something that's happening in March. So February is really the month where I can just chill here until March, April, May are traveling months, which is tricky too, because when I think about starting a new job, I'm like, oh my God, I have so much PTO to ask for. But yeah, that is a trip that's coming up in March, something that I want to plan for this month, but it, again, doesn't need to be so complicated. I want to be less of the follow the itinerary. We did already purchase some museum tickets that just should purchase in advance just because they are popular, but don't want to get too specific on planning things there. Qualify for the New York City Marathon. Again, this just means training for my half marathon in April, but also signing up for the rest of the races for 2024 so I can qualify through the 9+1 program, because that's really what Qualify for 2025 marathon is. It's complete the 9+1 program. And then learn to make fun plant-based meals. This is one that I'm trying to do every month. I did not do this in the month of January, but I think February will be an easier month to do this in because we have Valentine's Day, and why not cook and learn to make a fun meal for that? We're not gonna go out to eat, but we'll make something here. And then the last bit here is to learn a new skill. So I have, things that I want to learn this year. And part of that is like my Spanish. I want to learn to sew, and I've started framing. I also, for this quarter, want to focus on skating. It's something that I have already done in the month of January. I've gotten a little more comfortable. Haven't been on the ice for like 2 years, but my friend's lake froze, and so we were able to skate, and I got to try it out, and I'm like, let me practice skating again. And so as I pull back from solid core, and as I think about what budget-friendly things, free things Ari and I can do, skating is one of them. I have rollerblades or roller skates. I don't even know what they're called, but that's free. We go to the park, we just skate together, and I learn how to skate. Framing, you've all seen how I have been trying to get into framing and trying to really get the frames together. So that is something that I'm gonna complete this month. I'll give you an update in the vlog, but I have decided that maybe the mats, I'm not 100% ready to go all in doing them myself, so I might need to be more strategic on what frames I get from the thrift store. And then cook a new vegan meal each month. So that one I already shared with you is something that I'm trying to do. I didn't do it in January, although I did try something different with my tofu from something I saw on Instagram. So it's kind of like I tried a new recipe. I didn't follow it to a T, but it is what I have been enjoying with my avocado toast. So I didn't, but in February, I hope to cook a new meal. So that is it for my Notion on that end. I will show you what things look like for my planner, my actual physical document. So I started tracking my mood, which is something new for me, but it comes with this planner. And I didn't complete it. So I think something for the month of February that I want to do is actually complete the mood tracker. So I can see what happened, where is my mood? So there's a lot of blank in there. I also started with 3 small habits and tracking. Again, I don't believe that in order to be successful at a habit, you need to do it every day, but I wanted to get into a practice of doing morning pages, of reading 10 minutes a day, and working out, just a more consistent workout. So for February, because we also have habit trackers and mood trackers, but since it's not February 1st yet, this is blank and this is blank, I will focus again on writing a morning page every day. I think I want to do something around water intake. I also want to do more of the workout, just like have a consistent workout routine. And then I think I'm gonna add something related to steps. But again, I don't think I'm ever gonna fill up this page full of little habits that I'm trying to achieve, because I just don't think that's fully sustainable. But yeah, that is what we have ahead for this month. I'm excited. I feel like things are going well. So I hope this was a fun video for you. It's something I'm going to incorporate every month now moving forward. Want to have a monthly recap, monthly reset video, but I also want to have a kind of budget with me video every month. So I hope that you enjoyed this. Let me know in the comments what you're working towards this month, what you achieved in January. I want to hear all about it. So I'll see you next time.